Jewish students dance on 9/11. Yitzhak Rabin dying on the floor. Goyim slaves being sold like they are cattle. It's time we start the final battle. Hello, your friend here, Leslie Wexner, Zionist warrior and child bikini seller. I've come back again to reflect on one of my most important projects. Iraq, it's a dangerous country. WMDs are 10 a penny. The Iraqi regime was set up to fail. Wouldn't you feel safer with greater Israel? It's like Israel, but it's greater. There's a brand new temple. Ignore the haters. It'll be double the Jews for the price of one. And we'll all do a dance. When the Mashiach comes, you can come. Get a deal in the deserts of greater Israel. It's like Israel, but it's greater. There's a brand new temple. Ignore the haters. It'll be double the Jews for the price of one. And we'll all do a dance when the Mashiach comes. It's a fact. Iraq's a steal. Soon it could be greater Israel. Iraq, it's a complicated place. Saddam has a very angry face. The Iraqi regime is a terrorist state. Wouldn't you prefer greater Israel? It's like Israel, but it's greater. There's a brand new temple. Ignore the haters. It'll be double the Jews for the price of one. And we'll all do a dance when the Mashiach comes. Greater Israel.
Tell me, my friends, do you not see greater Israel forming all around us and has been for the past, I don't know, say since 1948? About then? You were listening to a song there that's going to be coming out on the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, The Musical Part 2. Part 1 is available to watch and stream, of course, on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you want. Whatever you want. Why not? Why not? If you want it, it's there. I'm going to share you. I've edited the image a little bit. I did a little bit of tinkering here and a little bit of tinkering there. I'm a tinkerer, people. I hope you know that. I think some of you might have already worked out that I like to tinker here and I like to tinker there with this and that. Hence my years of music. I'm a tinkerer on all instruments as well. I love it. I love it. And of course, the second part of the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical. Oh, that's not come out quite right. Give me just 1 second. Let me just remove that and add that. I love how these things work. There you go. There you go. That's the cover, the current cover for the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical part 2. I think you can all tell what that 2 is there. And yeah, it's going to be mostly based on some of the actual events leading up to 9/11 and the like. So, you know, there was a lot of, and afterwards, of course, because there was a lot about was the push for the war in Iraq. Leslie Wexner, who was one of Epstein's main funders, was, of course, pushing for war with Iraq. We know this because the leaked Luntz-Wexner analysis that came out in 2003 and is available on newspace.com for you to read now. And I would suggest, if you want to understand how Israeli PR works, then you understand how they were using PR to spin the Iraq war in favor of an Israeli state and against the Palestinian people. I mean, the Luntz-Wexner analysis is a dystopian read. You've read Orwell, you've read Huxley, but have you read Luntz-Wexner? It's time for you to do that. And around the same time, of course, I've written about how Epstein and Youngkerman were meeting the senators in the Dick and Bob Graham and Richard Shelby, who were the head and deputy head of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And obviously this, you know, people will say, oh, it's a blackmail operation. You know, they'll simply say, oh, Epstein was blackmailing those senators. No, the senators were working with Israel, Epstein, Israeli intelligence, CIA, Mossad, everybody. They were all in it together. And they were all tricking us. They were tricking you. They were tricking me so they can have greater Israel. They've wanted it for a long time. They want to destabilize the Middle East. The Middle East needs to be in turmoil all the time. You can't have anything else but turmoil. I'm going to pop on my glasses here so I can actually see the wonderful comments. Evening all. Loving to see you. Of course, Don, you're here. Amazing music. Thank you very much. That I've said a couple of times. I meant to play that as a closing track yesterday in the live stream that I did. But instead, I ended up playing it today again. It's one of my favorite. That's Great Israel. The actual music, if anybody's watched Searching for Stanley, I wrote that on a small little synth board for the series, documentary series about Stanley Pottinger. That one's the Kent State Massacre. If you go and listen, if you listen to that song and then you listen to the Kent State Massacre, you'll hear how it's been altered to fit with a much more musical style, and it's such a good driving rhythm. But the original is also standalone good in itself. I love that song. It's really eerie. Love this album. Brilliant. It'll be the same. I promise you. I promise you. Awesome. I promise you, you will enjoy what comes next. The part 2 is brilliant. So part 1 is out already. You can watch it on, listen to it on Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube, whatever. This will be out probably in about 2 months' time. I'll be finishing it up. That's time permitting, and there's, you know, all of the things happening. And then the third part of the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical, is already planned. I've already started tentatively writing the actual bass music for that I can then go and do the many things you can do with music nowadays. I'm using loads of different a cocktail of programs, apps, and all sorts of things to make full orchestras out of music as well. So I can now think about that while I'm writing music. And you can only do this with your own music anyway. There's like all sorts of laws. It's very interesting how the whole thing works. But the third part of the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical, will be a weekend at Jeffrey's, just like a weekend at Bernie's. I wanted it to be maybe, Dead Noam Chomsky. That's why it said in the first one, if people have heard it, they said even Dead Noam Chomsky will be there, and that is a reference to the fact that Noam Chomsky himself will be like the Bernie character in A Weekend at Jeffries, and it'll be a fun way for people to understand how the edge dynamics worked and how kind of like the influence operations with these scientists worked as well, and some of the people involved in it. Many of the people who were involved in Edge have been very sneaky to distance themselves from Epstein from the start. Some of them, like Eric Weinstein, were some of the first to distance themselves when they know perfectly well that they were naughty boys or naughty girls hanging around with such a terrible, awful, evil deep state man. And I have to say that the majority of people would have probably been a little bit deep state. Yes, a lot of the people attending Edge would be members of intelligence in some way or working for intelligence in some way. That's a lot of people there. People people like, oh, well, who's Sam Harris? You know Sam Harris. You know Naomi Wolf. You know her. You know some of those. Well, some of those guys, they've got certain links. You start to wonder, like Naomi Wolf is a Rhodes Scholar. And you know what people say about Rhodes Scholars? They're not good people, some people say. I don't know if that's a conspiracy or whatnot. I'm not a conspiracy theorist myself now. So people had turned up. Martin Levy, Evening All, just hopped on from Substack. Yo, Johnny busting moves. Oh man, honestly, I don't know if if I actually said the story out loud about filming those dancing parts, but it was late night in a hotel in Amsterdam when I was there for the trial of Bill Gates, and I went up to as a courtesy, I wanted to borrow a high chair so I could sit the phone on it and etc. and record the bits behind these lights that they had outside that were fantastic and color changing, and I could see the idea of it. But the guy in the hotel had such an ego, and he almost called the police. Because even though I didn't take the chair off the property, I took a chair outside the double doors. It's still on the hotel property. He wanted me to be taken down for it because he had a little bit of power, and he must have been very angry at my silent dancing. A Greater Israel map bears a disturbing resemblance to the Babylonian Empire. Done it just. Greater Israel is an interesting concept, of course, which seems to be coming to fruition. And it was something that was a totally banned conspiracy theory 8-9 years ago, and even less than that. Of course, I'm being nice when I say 8-9 years. I know that you can talk about some parts of Greater Israel without being belittled totally, especially by the main press. But we've seen now more and more that there's a push for it. We know that Jordan eventually will come under the cosh. They're very under control anyway. We know that the actions in etc. go on. We know that there's various. We lost the camera for a second. We know there's various places around Israel. Syria especially is somewhere, and the Golan Heights was already something that was a strategic point in that, and they want to take, of course, parts of Syria. And then, of course, there's northern Iraq, which is what they want to take under Greater Israel. So we know that exists. Israel State 51. No Area 51. You might be right. Maybe they're mixed. Maybe they mix a little bit of that stuff up because it's easy to do. But yeah, so I do think that Israel is the 51st state. At least Greater Israel. The idea of Greater Israel is the 51st state, and the current state of Israel is the makings of the 51st state as well. So it's heavily funded, obviously, mostly funded and backed by America, Israel itself, and the backers of Zionism. To be perfectly honest, I have to say, as I've been writing the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical part 2, I've really noticed that the album, when I finish it, it may be the most anti-Zionist album in the Western world and be the most Zionist album in the Western world at the same time. Because in actual fact, what I do for a lot of it is explain to people, try and use music to explain what Zionism believes. And in doing so, any Zionist would listen to it and go, yeah, this is accurate, and this is what I want. I want Greater Israel. So it actually works as both an anti-Zionist album and a Zionist album at the same time. I'm sure Mattis Yahoo would like it. What a bastard. Right. And for the, I know it's a lovely Sunday. There'll only be a few people joining, and the football's on as well. So this may not have been the most opportune time, but I'm tentative about coming on later and having a little bit of an Ask Me Anything later on while people are chilling around, maybe about 9-10 o'clock British time. But until then, I won't play you something. There you go. That's a very good Mary Smith. One day, I'll hit Mattis Yahoo in the face. Yes, Mattis Yahoo is a bastard indeed. You still in Amsterdam, Johnny? No, I got back a couple of days ago. I've been putting the stuff together from the footage together from when I was in Amsterdam. Imogene. It was a really good old time. Hello, everybody. I see you all here. I see the names turn up, and it's always like I love the fact that you've all come to join me. And if you have any questions about this, or you want to have a discussion after we watch this clip's probably about 18 minutes long. It's me in Amsterdam Central, and I stumbled across just after. If anybody, I mean, some of you would have seen the "Can I Eat Your Dog" video with the anonymous people who that was a real eye-opener. I think the best argument against veganism is that it's Malthusian. It's automatic Malthusianism for cows, sheep, and pigs. The vast majority of cows, sheep, and pigs would not exist if everybody was vegan. And that is crazy. The idea to protect animals, you kill them all. Get rid of absolutely everyone. Don't worry about ethics. Let's not create more ethical farming or do things that are nice for animals while they're alive and etc. and learn how to do things better. No, let's just kill them all because that's humane to them. That's showing us the humanity. And maybe it is. Maybe that's exactly what we're doing. And you say, okay, yes, I wish I'd been there. Couldn't make it next time. Hey, listen, if you do come next time, hopefully I'll be there too again, and it'll be fun. It'll probably be the Leader Where or No, however it's called, court case in October. There's going to be a ruling on the case, that the appeal case that we had about people testifying in April. So we'll find out about what this case brought, and then that affects the other case to see if people can be put on to testify. So like with any legal process, this is a long one. Katie, really nice to see you. Always nice to see you. And you turn up so regularly. I really do appreciate you, and I do love your messages. I really do. Greed is so lazy, isn't it so? Isn't it so? They just gobble everything up. All right, well, let's do it. Let's go over. Let's say hi to Polly. Polly, hi. Let's go across to see what these Iranians were talking about then. So those are the monarchists then. So it's for the Is it the return of the Shah?
Yeah, the Shah.
Okay. And so this is like the son or grandson of the Shah? What is
Reza Shah. Reza Pahlavi.
Reza Pahlavi? Okay.
We don't say Ayatollah.
Yeah.
Islamic.
You don't like the Islamic Republic at all. You want to see it coming back. Do you see the problem that would arise from the return of the Shah? Can you imagine what would happen in Iran? It would be pretty heavy, wouldn't it?
For every Iranian have freedom.
Yeah. But different level of freedom. Some Iranians will have freedom. Some other Iranians who have now got freedom will be less free.
We come back in Iraq.
Yeah. I understand. Thank you for answering the questions. So, okay, this is there you go. This is perfect. They're looking for the return of King Reza Pahlavi, it would be Return of the Shah, Return of the Shah, don't you know, Return of the Shah, you know you want Pahlavi, like that, yeah? What do you, that would cause trouble in Iran, wouldn't it? If King Reza Pahlavi gets in Iran and gets placed at the top, there would be a fight, wouldn't there?
There will be election. People decide.
Okay, I understand that. And so you think that people should... I like the idea that the people should decide.
He is a legitimate king, you know. He has sworn to be the next king. But he himself says, I let the
people... My only problem is that I'm not into the monarchy. So I don't, personally, on a personal... Objectively, I like the idea that, you know, there was a revolution at one point. There was a revolution, but that revolution was heavily influenced by the CIA and other actors as well. The whole of the last...
CIA helped them. The CIA helped them slowly.
Yeah.
They were afraid of the communists.
Well, we saw what happened with Iran-Contra afterwards, didn't we? And the CIA worked with Pasandida and others to actually smuggle weapons and hold the Iranian hostages for longer so that George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan could get power over Jimmy Carter in the elections.
No,
yeah, that was...
They didn't mean to. They said that they are dealing with reasonable people, you know?
Yeah, of course. I know.
We don't want a Shah. We want democracy.
Yeah. They always say that, though, don't they? But that's that. Okay, so that's my only issue.
Yeah.
Is that people who often say we only want democracy.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want more than democracy.
They were all leftists. They were all communists, you know.
Yeah.
They wanted dictatorship, proletariat dictatorship.
What do you think is the best form of government?
I think the best for our country is monarchy at this moment.
Okay.
Maybe over 100 years, people decide otherwise.
Yeah.
At this moment, for the stability, people look to one man. And the same is with Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, they wanted to bring back the former king, Mohammad Zahir Shah.
Yeah.
He was in exile.
Yeah.
And he came back. But the very same Americans, one of the Afghans, I don't remember his name, he was consulting, I don't know, was it Bush also, or was it, it was before Obama. They wanted Mohammad Zahir Shah to bring back Zahir Shah because they thought he is old, he is wise.
You're saying under George W. Bush.
But one of the Afghans.
Okay, Hamid Karzai.
Hamid Karzai.
Yeah.
He was against that.
Yeah.
And that was...
Yeah, but Hamid Karzai was a tool of the CIA.
I don't know, but he...
He was a dodgy
he
one.
Consulted against against bringing back the Shah,
Yeah,
Muhammad Zahir Shah,
Yeah.
because but he was the face of the stability. You know, people look to him. In these countries, it is patriarchy. People look to the older men, you know, and people listen to them.
Yeah, indeed.
And he could unit.
Iran hasn't actually declared war on someone for a very long time.
They have to declare what for the first.
Yeah.
When you enter an embassy, that is an awful thing to do. That's the same as declaring war. They did it 46 years ago.
Come on, you can't have it. I mean, if we built a society,
They say first from the beginning, get to America,
if we
get
did,
to Israel.
yeah. But I mean, it's all a very complicated thing, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's simple.
You don't think it's a bit complicated? I mean, it's been obviously complicated for a long time.
They want war. They started a war with Saddam Hussein because they wanted to seize the power for themselves. So they
Who's this now? Are you talking about Israel?
No, the mullah. Please don't laugh.
I'm just.
People are dying for 47
I know.
years.
I don't mean to.
Please don't laugh.
Yeah, but people are dying on all sides for all sorts of reasons.
No,
and if there was a switch in government, there would be civil war in Iran, wouldn't there?
Huh?
Wouldn't there be civil war if there was a switch in
They are
government?
already in civil war. They are killing us for 47 years. They came to power. You have you heard about Rex Cinema? Rex
No.
Theater. Please Google it.
Okay.
Rex Theater. Before they came to power, they incinerated a theater in southern of Iran. 500-600 people
Yeah, I remember.
were burned. The same mullahs did it. The Khamenei was behind it.
Yeah.
They wanted the power, and the state itself. We kill 100,000 people if needed to stay at power. We're already in civil war.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but this civil war at the moment, if you're talking about the civil war and what you're talking about at the moment, the amount of people who are dying now to the amount of people who will die if another government gets installed on top will increase exponentially. There will be a civil war that will split down the middle of Iran.
No.
You don't think they will?
As long as these people are in power, people are dying by thousands.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
At least
I even myself, I'm using the fallacy of the what is greater or what is lesser, and all human life is lost is terrible.
It couldn't be worse than this.
Yeah.
It couldn't be worse than it. We accept problems, you know. We accept chaos.
Yeah. I understand.
Because for 47 years they are killing people.
Yeah.
And they are trying to make people against each other.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all they do.
I know, and you are not telling a lie at all. You're not exaggerating. It's been a restrictive, terrible, awful, manipulative regime, and people don't realize until they look into it how bad they've been in all different sides. But then I know that if they're bad, the other people can also be bad too. It would be a fallacy to think that you can't install someone who's equally as bad as the last guy.
This is what I believe. In every one of us, there is a little Mussolini.
Yes, there is.
Every one of us.
I've experienced my own little Mussolini moments.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm only a tiny bit fascist.
We all have to make sure that there is not another dictatorship.
Yeah.
And after what people have experienced, they went with their bare hands in front of machine guns.
Yes.
They make sure that there is not another dictatorship.
Yeah. Let's leave it there because she's speaking now. But thank you very much for speaking to me. Thank you very much. Okay, bum. I like someone who has a conversation. Always like someone who has a conversation. You know me, and that's good. There's a lot of Israeli fighters obviously are linked to Israel here. They weren't talking about Israel. Hello.
وظیفه ما یه فلایرایی رو چاپ کردیم که داره توسط دوستانمون پخش میشه در مورد
So of course I have no idea what they're saying here. I'm sure they're saying a lot. I can't possibly tell you. Though I should learn how to use the translation app as soon as I possibly can, because I'm going to need that for the courtroom. Well, I'm going to wander over here. Wander off with that flock of seagulls that were just flock of pigeons. Here they come. Whoop, whoop. I like it. Oh. See the American flag round. And here you go. This is Amsterdam. What can you do? Look at this, at the square. Madame Tussauds over here.
Silence. Silence is betrayal. Silence in such moments is not neutrality.
Salam alaikum.
It is permission. Permission to perpetuate crime. Permission to strip human dignity in the dark. Choose international law. Don't remain silent. Silence is betrayal. Silence in such moments is not neutrality. It is permission. Permission to perpetuate crimes. Permission to strip human dignity in the dark. These are not numbers. They are people. Fathers, sons, brothers, thrown to the ground, humiliated, terrified. Their only crime being that they exist in Gaza. Every time the world chooses silence. Another line is crossed. Another atrocity is normalized. Another generation learns that their lives are disposable, as doctors and humanitarians on the ground. We see the consequences of this silence every day. Broken bodies, untreated wounds, preventable deaths, and a crushing sense of abandonment. Raise your voice. Share. Act. Livelihood.
I mean, you can't really...
As long as it's peaceful.
You can't really ignore the contrast there, can you? You can't, I mean, you can kind of see who the dominating party is here. America, Israel, and the dictator of Iran loudly playing shit music. Over here, really, everybody knows. I find this so super sad now. One of the worst. It sounds like this is bizarre. This is like hypernormalization in action. Look at this. There's a thing. This is just like hypernormalization in action. And the guys are out here collecting as best they can. Hello, boss.
Voorzitter van het Rode Kruis, wat we in Gaza hebben gezien, overstijgt alle wenselijke, ethische, morele en humanitaire normen. President, what we saw in Gaza exceeds all ethical, moral, and humanitarian standards.
This is it. We are here. Hello? Oh, I got my hands full, sorry. I'm trying to have me a... Valon Dafa is good. Truthfulness, compassion, tolerance. Promotes healing, spiritual growth. So this is like Falun Gong sort of stuff, but they've renamed it Falun Dafa. I don't know what any of that means. I think it's just like You meditate lots. Find unity. Help stop persecution of Falun Gong in China, yes. Of course, I can't take it in my hands at the moment. They keep trying to hand me leaflets. There's a load of... This music in the background is... It's Soviet era. This is so surreal. I mean, I'm in Amsterdam, people. So what can you do with this Soviet-style music? Well, we watch the practitioners of Falun, whatever it is now, Falun Gong, Falun Dana, whatever. Look at this. So I find this fantastically interesting. All of them together. Bizarre. Welcome to Amsterdam.
I do want to, let me have a little look. Sure. 100% haven't muted myself. I like to mute myself sometimes. But I'm gonna leave it open. I'm gonna go through a little bit of this. That was in the Museum Square in Amsterdam about a week ago. So Saturday, a week ago yesterday. And it was really interesting. It was these three different protests going on, and the biggest one felt contrived. It was this one. It was the return of the Shah. These are obviously there seemed to be a lot of the Iranian opposition were wearing the flags of Israel and wearing the flags of America, and were trying to show that they were in some form of unity, but they're looking to be chosen. I mean, if you think about the idea that Iran could be overthrown like that, I think it's a lot of hubris involved. A load. It's just a massive amount of hubris involved. So I don't think it'll happen. But if you think about what alternative governments could go in Iran, one of them is going to be Shah. And this is the son of the last Shah. And they absolutely, as was said, they've absolutely despised him. Where was it? Here you go. The Cinema Rex Theatre fire was at the time blamed on the King Reza Shah. For good reason. Iranians hated him. Now they're spinning it. Indeed, this is one of the things that they do. Of course, if they find it really important to have their leadership contenders ready. Of course, the like we saw in Venezuela with Guaido and all of that. And we've seen in other places as well. They put their contenders up there, manipulated coup contenders, and it either sticks or it doesn't. Either they're going to be, even if they get into power, having an unpopular leader means they need to be then more authoritarian. So they get that with it too. I think. This looks so. From my being on the ground, I felt like they were very nervous. The people with the Israeli flags. I don't know if you noticed it, But I was stepping around. When I'm walking around one of these areas, I do a lot because I've done years of police auditing and public. We have a movement over in the UK called PINAC. It's photography is not a crime. So by British law, you can take a picture or video of whatever you can see from public. That's it. If you're looking into a police station and they've left all of their windows open and loads of letters on the table, you can see that from public. So that is something where then you can hold them to account in that sense. But also you can follow around the police. It's called police auditing in the different places. First Amendment auditing in US, and me and a friend of mine, my best friend, we got into it a little bit. We thought we were watching a load of them. We were like, oh, it just looks like fun. We go out and bother the police for a bit and just, it's like it's the same as kids with stones, throwing stones for but this is a bit more constructive. You get to learn the laws that they expect you to abide by and then watch them as they break the laws and record them as they break the laws. I think that's a really important part of what is the media. And it was kind of like an outlet that allowed me to go and be a lot more relaxed when I'm in public and get used to filming in public. So I could get up to a point where I can go into a situation. I'm very mobile. I try and do a kind of mobile type of media. I know I really what I would like is someone who's doing the film and I'll be able to talk and I'd be able to actually interview these people with a mic, etc. So you could hear them a bit better. But at the end of the day, I'm a street media in this sense. And I think it's really important to get an edited feel of the scene. When I'm there, I like to move about from side to side. I like to go around the whole of the outside. I like to check where the perimeters are, push in as far as I feel like I can go without like the camera being obscured or there being a point when someone wants to interact with you negatively and you kind of haven't got a way to wiggle out of it. Sometimes I'm holding a camera and I'm moving around, and if I go into a really dense area, if someone doesn't like me filming there, they will whack me in the arm or they will hit the camera on purpose, etc. So I got to avoid that. So I got to kind of sneak around. But this scene was very much, everybody was very organized. Everybody was in their place. But they were a very small crowd. They had a small crowd turn up at the square, and then they had another small little march, the thing that you saw at the beginning, where they were chanting as they were walking. Those guys actually came later. After I filmed all of that, then I filmed that. So I actually filmed the first bit last. And so they were walking around, milling around. These people are kind of like being told turn up at this time, and most of the people who were wearing American flags, Israeli flags, I don't think they were Israeli or American. I think they were Iranians who were part of the Shah opposition. They want to make it look like it's all supported, but regime change, we haven't even got to that. I mean, everybody's very interested at the moment about the fact of whether Benjamin Netanyahu is alive or not. Be careful of that one, because that one seems like I've seen this one before play out over and over again. And it would be, it would be a fantastic victory for the Iranians, the Palestinian people, the Gazans, maybe large parts of the world, if something like that has happened. It would be a great victory against evil, against one of the most evil men around. It would be like Hitler getting shot in a bunker in 1943. I'm willing to say something as wild as that, maybe even earlier, 1939, maybe to stop a bigger conflict, maybe sets off a bigger conflict. But I think the Israelis have this thing. What they do is they try and look on the media like they're winning the battle outright. No one else has got a chance. Everybody's doomed. That's what they try and do. They don't let their own media report on the times they get hit by missiles, etc. So if they've entered into a full war with Iran, and Iran is actually hitting them properly, Iran's not it's going to have access to technologies that are good enough to be able to get past the very clumsy Iron Dome, which is a tongue-in-cheek defense mechanism, and will be able to hit viable targets. And Israel won't want to report those. They will keep them off the news as best they can for as long as possible. They're dirty, rotten liars. They always have been. They always will be. And what they do is they try and make it look like they're winning, they're supreme, everybody else is below them. And what does that actually do when you analyze the idea? So you're a tyrant that's beating everybody and they're all too poor and weak to be able to fight you? Like, what a tyrant tries to project is tyranny. That's it. So what we're watching tyrants projecting tyranny. That's it. That's what Israel are. They're tyrants, and they project out tyranny to make people think that they're always going to win. The God's on their side. They're religious extremists of the worst kind. The majority of them. The majority are full-on Zionists. They want the goyim under their feet. The top layers. These are top layers of Israeli society who are in control of society, who are in control of the army and the governments, who are parts of the Mossad, and parts of Unit 8200s, the Jeffrey Epsteins and the Leslie Wexners, and et cetera, are extreme Zionists who want to see the rebuilding of the temple and the Moshiachs return. So, I mean, really, it'd be a great victory for maybe mankind if Israeli Hitler was out of the picture. This guy was very interesting. The guy who I was talking about this with, I found him very nice and gentle. But as was said, I'm gonna take off my lovely sunglasses, take on my glasses. As was said by Mary Smith, oh shit, Johnny, they didn't know you would be coming with knowledge of history. And it's true. I've done a load of research on Iranian history. So I know Iran quite well. I know the CIA's interaction with Iran quite well. I am missing certain parts of my knowledge. You know, I very much my understanding is like before 1953 and after 1953 Iran. So before Mohammad Mossadegh gets deposed by a CIA operation organized by Kermit Roosevelt and others, and so by the CIA. And then after that period, directly after that period, and then but before the late 70s, the end of the Shah, the revolution, the embassy stuff, the aftermath, the Iran-Contra deals, and then the organizations with the governments and the secret talks between Americans and Iranians, where they were actually doing loads of intelligence deals and weapons deals and making loads of money and pretending to be enemies at the same time when it was all a farce, or a farcy. So that's a joke. And then you know, the modern day Iran is a bit of a theater puppet, you know, theater villain. It's like Kim Jong Un and Kim Jong Il. It's like you got that puppet sort of character about it. So, you know, they could be Muppet characters, and it'd be like they're saying Many Ahmadinejad or whatever his name was before, he was comical. He looked like a cartoon dog. He was almost the Arabic version of George W. Bush in that sense. They're ridiculous like characters, and I think a lot of this is all just theater anyway. They all kind of know that they're in what the game looks like, and they're all playing parts of the game, but they're not weak, desperate people. The Iran's so much different from Iraq or Afghanistan, and everybody keeps trying to say this over and over again to people who assume that it's like the Americans couldn't win in Iraq. The Americans didn't win in Iraq. The Americans couldn't win in Afghanistan. The Americans had all their stuff stolen in Afghanistan. They lost loads of equipment to the opposing sides. And at the end of it, who's there now? They lost. Iran is 3.8 times the size of Iraq. 3.8 times the size, much more powerful, has much more a better ability to have a flow of weapons from strategic locations, which won't be able to be hit by Israel or America, or will be hard to be hit. So there are three main routes through Iran for bringing goods. The fact is, it is much more powerful, much more powerful than people are thinking. Let's have a look. Mary Smith says, looks like the Shah in a hoodie and sunglasses. Yeah, there he is. It's him. He's turned up and he's pretending. He should take off one of those gloves. I'm just saying. He can't stop till he get enough. I mean, Return of the Shah. There's loads of songs to be had in this because it's ridiculous. I mean, this is a song. This is a musical in itself. Runaway Slav, beautiful picture, says Reza can't even control his own wife from publicly cheating on him, yet people think he can lead an entire nation. Hey, listen, if you've got a wife who wants to publicly cheat on you, you're doomed. Those women, you can't control them, I tell you. Anyway, Persia, Persia, yes. Persia indeed. I think that they want to take half of that Persia away for Greater Israel. They want to take half of it, and they may occupy it for a little bit, but it won't last long. History of betrayal, yes, totally. But that's the Middle East for you, Mary Smith. There's a load of betrayal in the Middle East. Everybody stabbing each other in the back all the time. Maybe that's the way it is in the entire world. But there's a lot of people stabbing each other in the back, and it's got a long history of that. Part of that is because a lot of these people are from different genetics. They're different people in general, and we don't often accept that we've got differences within our genetics, and naturally we feel akin with someone or not akin with someone, and people can't go into someone else's land that people are living all over and take over it and expect to be welcome there afterwards. Eventually, they have to leave again if they do that. Israel will find that out. BG Tessero, hello, how are you? You're always wonderful. Julius Caesar was killed 2,070 years ago today while raising the biggest army in Roman history to invade Parthia, Persia. That is a lovely bit of knowledge from someone who turns up to most truth bombs. I will be looking to organize another truth bomb soon with some people, but this is someone who knows their biscuits. That's an interesting fact there. 2,070 years ago today, biggest army in Roman history to raid Persia. Yes, I have a friend who was smuggled out of Tehran after he was tortured at age 9 in Savak, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's all of that area. You're talking Iraq, Iran, Turkey, a lot of that area. There's a lot of torture that's happened. Egypt, same. It's very old school when it comes to controlling people. That's one thing. Mary Smith was a total shit show and still paying the price. Yeah, Iraq, Afghanistan, total, still paying the price. And you can judge Iran as being 3.8 times worse than that. Just saying. How about if Soviet music turned into Thriller and they all started dancing? That would make a lot of sense because that was really Soviet music. I was so weird. I'm looking at when they started playing the Shah's, whatever the Shah's tune is. It was like listening to it reminded me of Adam Curtis's Hypernormalization, where he's talking about the Soviets. Someone's talking about the Soviets era where the people who are talking know that the audience know they're lying to them, and the audience know they're lying to them, and the audience know that they're lying to them, and etc., etc. And everybody just plays along. And that was exactly that. and then they put Soviet music over the top, and it becomes like a parody almost. So the monarchists, they're funny. They're funny. They are funny. At World's End. Hello, my friend. Hello, Johnny. It says, why is that racist, Johnny? Yeah, everything's racist if they want it to be. That's the way it works. But to be perfectly honest, I find that people from other races enjoy, like if I went to China and I said to a load of Chinese people, do you want me to do an impression of a Chinese person? Every single person would say yes. Every single person. There wouldn't be a person in the room who's Chinese who wouldn't want to see a white man do an impression of a Chinese person. Yeah, if you go over to the West and do it, wow. I mean, whew, you get kicked out of restaurants and stuff. Now, I've never been kicked out for that, me personally, but I would like to. That's the connection. Rome. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, Rome. Oh, it all leads back. All roads, Ides of March. Yeah, indeed. Oh, wow. Is it the Ides of... Oh, wow. Wow. Yes, of course. Of course. Oh, look who it is. Heartthrob. I'm in. Susan, hello. Yay, found you live. Loved Dan and Sue. Loved your Epstein musical. Dan and Sue, you are beautiful. I miss you. You were really welcoming to me and lovely to me, and I have all my heart and I give you all my love. I really, really do. Such a nice person. Both, but Susan, you're such a nice person. You're just absolutely love. I love it. At World's End. So, hey, Dan's good too. Dan's good too. But Sue, woo, she's a special one. At World's End, Soviet music was pretty good. Yeah, indeed. Flash mob. Yeah, it was a bit of that. Funny, I just heard the Russian national anthem early today. Wow, it's coming for you, those Russians. I swear, things are happening. It feels like there's an Italian walked into the cafe by me the other day, and everybody who works in the cafe went, "Oh no," because it looks like they've sent another plant as well. So I might have to deal with another Italian soon. Don, I honestly, me and Don have some good conversations. I'll message you back for what we were talking about the other day or yesterday. I get busy and carried away, and I got to try and finish up typing this article, which is basically covering the trial of Bill Gates and what happened, because there were some things within there that were really important to understand. I read somewhere a while ago that the former Shah had his food flown on Concorde. Simple, humble people. Yeah. That's I think, though, they're not humble people, but it depends what food in Concorde. I might do the same. I gotta be honest. If I was out in the middle of nowhere and I'm desperate for Nutella one day, I don't know. If I was that rich, would I? Maybe. I'd have to resurrect Concorde first. And for that, I'd have to get probably in with the Neo-Malthusians like Aurelio Peche, who was one of the ones who organized and owned Concorde and was also part of the Club of Rome. So I don't think I really want to do that. So even if he had flown it out by Concorde, it's like a Malthusian craft was bringing the food, and the food was probably cooked children. So I would love to watch it. I'm really mobile at the moment. I'm walking around all over the place, so I will come. I will. Can you explain the Pavli or Pahlavi name history? I don't know about the Pahlavi name history, but I will look into it. I'm very good at looking into things like that. It's one of my things. I like looking into family history, names. I'm trying to understand my name, because there's not many people Vedmore. There's not many people. And I followed back And I get back to a certain point where I think most of my family have been slightly naughty boys who gamble, and like my great granddad and his brothers, they ran the dog tracks around Cardiff, and my granddad run the roughest pub in Cardiff, and they all have a home, and that pub was really a gambling den where people used to play poker all the time. At some point, the tables would be thrown up in the air and a fight would break out. It was a proper old school. It was almost like the Wild West, but in Wales. And it was in a place called Ely, where that's where one of the places where my dad grew up, and it was pretty much a naughty place where people were always naughty. People would, buy things out the back of vans that were stolen from factories and stuff. There was that type of crime all throughout my family going back. And I think at one point, my family probably changed their name. I do know that my great uncle was R.D. Blackmore. So that was the guy who wrote Lorna Doone. And he was pretty much like Blackmore. Maybe the name Vedmore came from that, but it could also come from Wedmore place. It could. I doubt it by the look, because I've traced it back to basically going to almost Wedmore. But who knew? Who knows? Maybe it'd be Vidmaya. Maya, that's what they do for more. Maybe I'd be like, it turns out I'm an Ashkenazi. If I do, I'm taking over the world. I gotta warn you. I don't want to be there you go. It's in the DNA. Yeah, I hope hope I can keep out of that DNA out there. But this guy, okay, so this guy was interesting to talk to. I liked him very much, because he was interesting to him, but he showed he had a lack of knowledge about history in general. And a lot of the people who were hanging around, when I was actually walking around, a lot of this seemed like they didn't want to have a conversation. And one of the things I was going to say is that those Israeli flags, you could see an Israeli flag lighting around. The guys who were holding those Israeli flags were constantly walking away from me. So when I was like walking sideways or something, I'd be walking towards a guy with Israeli flag, and they'd walk away from me. So I don't think they wanted to have a conversation, because if they had a conversation, I'd find out they weren't Israelis and they were something else. There was a couple of people there who looked like they were Dutch. And the Dutch, I mean, there's going to be people who organize the Dutch protest movements in the same way. Now, in contrast, I found the contrast of this Gaza a stand very, very like, gotta say the word, and I don't mean it in an insulting way, but it was very pathetic. It was very pathetic. That's why I would describe it. It was like, it's an AI voice over a megaphone, over a recorded tape, with pictures that I've seen 1,000 times, lying down on the floor, and guys just hoping to raise a bit of money. And just behind is this well-organized protest. It is a well-organized protest, even though it was small and a little bit tongue-in-cheek. A well-organized protest of the oppressors. And they're on to a different subject. They're not even thinking about how they've already oppressed these guys. These guys are already under control. And I felt that contrast, them sitting next to each other, the Palestinians and these Israeli sported Shah protest. It was pretty shocking. Just over to the side, just to the it would be that way. Just over there to the left of the screen is where the anonymous protest was happening with the meat. So that was all happening in the one area. I do like that area. And then there was the Falun Gong, Falun Dafa stuff. So Falun Dafa is just another name for Falun Gong. So Falun Dafa is just another name. We never quite understand what they're actually doing or what they're going on about. It reminds me of like an alternative version. What I would posit Falun Gong to be, or a facet of it. I think about 1984, and I think about that the hate. They all stand there, they scream at the screen, and they find inner truth and peace that way. And these guys, they meditate and do things in a certain way, and it has that same sort of glorification of idea that leads to subjugation. It's almost like self-subjugation. I will handle, this by being peaceful, and it does not work. I mean, peaceful resistance can only go so far. Um, it's always linked in with things like organ harvesting and stuff, because there's real trouble in China. Trouble that you can't say out loud if you're Chinese, even if you're in another country. The Chinese are pretty brutal when it comes down to intelligence, and these people can't speak in terms. So what they're doing is saying other things in a different way. But I see it as like an almost like what the antithesis of the 2-minute hate, or however long hate it is, in 1984. It's like the antithesis that does basically the same thing, keeps everybody in sort of like a belief system, and that belief system is something that would probably be riddled by Chinese intelligence. I would think that this movement, the Chinese are some of the most, they just do not care. It's so much worse than what our governments are. When they want to be tyrannical, they can be so much worse. So some of this persecution will be really bad, and then the protests against the persecution will be organized and controlled, is what my thought is. I'm going to go back up again here. It's in the DNA. An interesting thing I came across was the branch of the Pahlavi name was changed to Pallavicini, which is black nobility bloodline. Oh, bloody Rome. There you go. And then Christina Dorling says, Martin, yes, Pahlavi or Pahlavi name is Iranian, Italian, Indian. That makes a lot of sense. Ancient Iranian bloodlines, ones that were probably allowed to rule back in the days of Darius or whatever. When I went through Jordan B. Peterson's family history, I ended up in roughly the northern areas of these regions, and there was the rule of who was ruling was wild. So we really don't understand history. There's a load of history we glorify and we lift up as kings and queens of England, the American Revolution, the Roman period, the Greeks, but then we miss out loads of really, really, really interesting, rich history that's even richer and could teach us so much more. Pahlavi is saying he is in contact with Trump. Is the writing on the wall. That's the thing, is that they're going to be saying that. And when they say contract with Trump, it means that they've said, excuse me, can we have your support? And they've received a letter back saying, Mr. Trump will definitely consider what you say. So that's probably how much it is at this stage. Interesting that connections with Pallavicini. It is indeed. It's a name in every country. It's part of Zoroastrianism. I think you mean to say there. That is, you say Zoroastrianist. I think you mean Zoroastrianism. Morgenthau Sr., while ambassador in Turkey in 1914, writes about Pallavicini. The Morgenthau's were extremely interesting, and some of the things they were writing about were extremely interesting. They were there was an element of Fabianism about the Morgenthau's, that's for sure. Like they were on the side of the enemy, but they were doing it in the shadows and surreptitiously helping. Martin Levy, hi Christina. Apparently, they Pallavicini their own imam. There you go. That would make sense. Yeah. And so it's very that's a bit of an interesting one. The Falun Gong being there was interesting. Amsterdam was a relatively nice trip. Really good time. I mean, the trial of Bill Gates was interesting. Seeing how the city's changed, and the city has changed quite a lot. That city, the first time I went to Amsterdam, if you have any questions or anything, think them up and put them in the chat, and I'll have a look at them in a couple of minutes. We'll have a little question time, and then I'll probably wrap this up. Back in Amsterdam 27 years ago when I first went, man, I hate, it's when you get to this age and you start saying, and the first time I went there was 27 years ago, you start to realize, I'm getting old now. So I'm definitely feeling a little bit old now that I say that. But 27 years ago was the first time I went in 1999. It was October 1999. It was the coldest. I had a thin shirt on, and we went out like we would in the UK. In the UK, everybody at the time was just going out in a shirt. They would never dress properly. Never. UK dancers, ravers, whatever, clubbers, never, ever dressed appropriately. And they still don't nowadays. You walk through the UK and you see loads of people walking around in the shortest skirt, little bob top, and it's raining and it's hailing and there's snow everywhere. So, I mean, it's always been the same. But we went out, and the Amsterdam was a wild city back then. Walking through the red light districts is something that everybody does when they go to Amsterdam. I mean, man, woman, and child are walking through red light districts because it becomes like people looking at the other world. It's like such a close encounter with another world, a world of well, illicit world, you could say. But back in the day, you used to go over the canal bridges, and on the one side of the bridge would be a gang of people, usually immigrants, usually from Africa, and they would all come up to you and be like, Coke, you want to buy Coke? You want to buy Ease? You want to buy Ease? You want to buy Coke? And some of them would be quite threatening, and there would be about 5 of them on the one side, sometimes more, and you'd go across the bridge, and on the other side, there'd be 5, 10 more, and they were of a different gang. So the one gang had the one side of the one bridge, and then the other gangs would have the other side of the other bridge. And that would happen down all of the bridges all through Amsterdam. And every time you walk across the bridge, you have a load of people, or you as soon as you walk up to the bridge, coming around you, and rah, 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 you get across the bridge, you got a load more people coming around you, rah, 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 rah. And the place was a bit of a Wild West on purpose. People wanted to experience that, but the locals hated it. The locals had a really hard time, and this city, Amsterdam especially, had become this horrible mess, really, by the late 90s. No one really knew what they wanted to do with it, and it was reaching out to the worst in us, not the best in us. It was really like quite a hard place for Dutch people to live. And I remember over the next 4 or 5 years, I went back maybe 4 or 5 times, 6 times. I'm a smoker, and I love to smoke weed, so it just seems sensible always. And it's only 45 minutes from London. Basically, hop over and you end up in Amsterdam. And I remember talking to some Dutch people, and they were like, we don't want the red light district. We don't want we don't mind the smoking, but not too much, and it just causes crime. And we have a city filled up with people who push up the rents and etc. So a lot of the residents of Amsterdam found Amsterdam itself to not be their city. It wasn't a Dutch city. It was a global city. I think it was one of the early global cities in that sense, ones that attracted people in from all around the world because it allowed a more illicit lifestyle to be public. And that brought in the worst elements from all around the world and the most curious elements of all around the world, and the mix you get of it was this weird place called Amsterdam. It wasn't good for the Dutch. It was expensive to live there, but there was always constantly, and there is still now, constantly a flow of people going through Amsterdam. Just constantly new people leaving, coming, leaving, coming. Sundays are busy in Amsterdam, Mondays are busy in Amsterdam, Tuesdays are busy, so on and so forth. It's always busy. And it was 27 years on, seeing how it's become now. It's become, in a sense, again, globalist. The modern image of globalism. It's every city will look roughly the same. Every city will be the same. The city will eventually look to form its own, in a sense, like city state, especially the big cities. So cities like Amsterdam are being prepped for that. You go to the North District of Amsterdam and you see a different Amsterdam growing, and it's very much a 15-minute city, Amsterdam. It's a very carefully planned out, and Amsterdam would be good for their plans. It would fit well with their plans because Amsterdam looks like a 15-minute city in the way it's mapped out. If you've ever seen a map of Amsterdam, you've got the main, you got the Amstel goes around the outside. There's the main road that goes outwards, and then all of the roads are kind of like go around in this big nice circle in the main center, and it's very organized, and then as you go further out, everything's flat, so they can organize it really well, and they've done a lot of that to probably partially to the detriment of the city. The city no longer has that same feel as it did before. It's feeling like it's turning more and more parts of it, especially in the north, turning more and more into 15-minute cities. So it's being swallowed up by an agenda that will homogenize it. And that's what I felt while I was in Amsterdam this time. The globalist homogenization of the technocracy being the veil of it being flung across this city, this once great city that was awkward, uncomfortable, weird, but was a different type of globalism then. It was a different type of globalism, but both of them are the same. It's a very worldly city. Everybody's moving in and out. So it wasn't too surprising to see quite a large contribution from Iranians there. There's a lot of foreign folks and big communities built up in Amsterdam. So that would be a perfect place for all these type of things to happen. Truly a melting pot. Truly a melting pot, and a good melting pot as well. I have to say I had a very good time out there. It was a lot more sterile than it used to be, and I think that was probably good for me because I'm much older. I'm not interested in necessarily party time. I'm interested in having a smoke and doing a load of work. Work. That's what I like doing nowadays. But yeah, very interesting. Let's see what is being said on the here we go. We were down by yes, it's teaching in Zoroaster. Oh god, I can never say Zoroastrianism. Oh man, it's one of those things. The original Reza Shah Pahlavi was born Reza Khan during the Qajar dynasty. Russian Empire deposed Qajar, installed Reza as the new Shah, calling it the Pahlavi dynasty. His son was the 1953 dude. That's very interesting. His grandson is the current dude. Yes, they are. The first Reza was a Cossack. Ooh, that's what you're saying. So that yes. I like a little bit of this. Hey, have to say, the crowd, especially because of things like Truth Bomb, and people know how inquisitive I am in my shows anyway, and how I love to know more. We got a good crowd who is good at being able to unwrap history, and I like this. I really do like this. Maybe there can be a way that a load of us can get together and we can do a show where we discuss these things, and the different experts help be able to us understand it. Well, he was born in northern Iran, but the military was in bed with Russia. Yeah, it goes backwards and forwards, just like Castro was. Bear pigs, anyone? Anybody want a bear bacon? I mean, pigs. Question. Hello, ASKUL. Question for Johnny. Why did you not mention communitarianism on Courtney Turner interview recently? Did I? No, I that interview was we recorded that probably about 2-3 months ago, I think, maybe 3 months ago, and we were talking about Eric Weinstein and his well, I was talking about Eric Weinstein, his involvement in Edge, his work on the UN program, writing the paper, the migrant program, the migrant division program, capital letters MIGRANT, migrant division of the UN, the migration for the benefit of all, which was all about open borders, really creating open borders, and what type of effect that would have. I'm surprised I didn't mention communitarianism. Communitarianism is really just what I mean. I'm not even sure that in the future it'll be quite called communitarianism, because I think it was becoming just a part. Like communitarianism is a mix of different ideologies. There's a bit of fascism in there. There's a bit of communism in there. There's a bit of so-called democracy in there, and a lot of capitalism hanging around. But it's really the world that the World Economic Forum and the think tanks have designed is a communitarian world. But I suppose really I'm not sure where it would fit into the conversation, apart from to say that that's the system that they want to impose. I think that's just for me. That's like an obvious. That's a given. The system they want to they want to impose is a globalist technocratic panopticon that runs via a form of communitarianism, where city states especially, and things like this, like the idea of 15-minute cities growing into bigger cities, going into mega cities, having these like city state empires. This is very similar to some of the history we're talking about in the past, because this is the future they want to create. The problem is that when I'm going through a lot of these things, I go through details. So when I'm talking about Eric Weinstein, I'm talking about my research I've done about what he did what he did before he went to work for the UN, his university courses, his strange scholarship that he got. That seems like it's an intelligence-based scholarship in his second degree, and then his work for the UN, and then getting involved in think tanks, and then working for Peter Thiel, and being involved in Edge Foundation for a long period, and then claiming to be something else and forming the intellectual dark web at the time. And all of those things, those are the things I kind of focus on, because if I just focused on communitarianism, people wouldn't know all of those details. When people are going to be discussing that in the future, they're going to say, well, the details that if you go and look at me going through the World Economic Forum slides, you can understand what that system looks like. But we need to understand how, if we're going to stop that system, we need to understand the people who are building it now, like Eric Weinstein, and how we stop them and how we expose them. So even though they're trying to implement the system, I'm describing how they meant to implement the system, and I'm aiming at them in a way that doesn't doesn't necessarily drown people with way too much information early. If I say Eric Weinstein wrote this paper in the UN and it's going to lead to this thing that's much bigger, we draw attention away from the thing that people should be saying. Wait a minute, what? He worked for the UN. Just simple as that. He's now tried to excuse himself. We had a backwards and forwards on X, and he's blocked me, of course, and he's trying to excuse himself now. And in a sense, he's trying to act like it was the right thing to do work for the UN in like planning open borders, ideas of open borders. But it does lead to communitarianism. I'm surprised I didn't mention it at any point, but it's hard to. I'm not going to shoehorn it in necessarily. I deal with looking at identifying the parts that are leading us to this. I fully accept that the world they want to create, the technocratic globalist panopticon, is a communitarian system. Completely accept it. There's no reason why I think anybody would object to that at all. I think it is true. But Dutch have a real big problem with kiddly diddling protection. Yeah, the Dutch, they got a lot of strange proclivities, and I mean that permissibility. I don't know if that's what you'd say. That natural permissibility is within their society, so you feel that when you're there, and it benefits me when I want to smoke some weed. Benefits some student who's having a party. I'm not sure if I said this story yesterday. I've told a couple of people this. I'll tell you a story. I was walking. I'll go through the rest of the. I see. Desert Rain is also. Hello, Deb. And Christopher Thornton, I see you there. I'll go through the rest of the messages. Let me tell you a little story. Not sure if I said this. It's a funny one now. So I was walking on one of the nights. It was the night of the Bill Gates trial. Afterwards, I went for a smoking cafe for 2-0, and then I went to go across to somewhere else. And I was walking back through the red light district. And there was this guy coming out of the window in front of me as I was walking up to him. And he came out. He was this little Belgian guy, really small guy. He came out, and these two women opened the curtains of this window on the side, this red light window. And they were pretty. These girls, there's like a third of the girls that there were once upon a time. But these girls are stunningly attractive. A load of them are very beautiful women. I have no idea why they feel like they're just worth a window in Amsterdam. So some of them are completely astoundingly beautiful, but it's up to them what they do. They open the curtain. And I see them as I walk by. And I said to him as I walked around the corner, I said, "Oh, how was it then?" I was only, I was just to add a bit of fun. What I like doing is walking through and looking people in the eye. And he said, "Oh, it was good. It was good. It was okay." And I said, "Go on." He said, "Well, I went up and I said, 'How much was it?' And she said, €100. And I said, 'Okay then.' And I went in, and then the other woman, I gave €100, and then the other woman said, 'Oh, also €100 for me.' So I gave her €100. And then he goes on to tell me how they gave him a hand job. And he said the one was just on a phone, like matter of fact. He was like, he said, 'I wasn't sure I would enjoy it because she was just on her phone and she didn't even seem to be paying attention. But then I was like, oh. I would say this. He didn't mean that as a joke. He didn't mean to be funny. He just described the whole process in like an autistic person would. Really, I did like that. I mean, it is a strange place, and I know there's a big debate to be had about what's good or bad within consensual stuff. But if it's two adults, I'm indifferent to it. As long as two adults are deciding what they do with their own bloody lives and no one else is forcing them, I am fine with two adults doing whatever, and I don't have to go and look at it. But I found that very funny. That guy did make me laugh. His description, I knew what he was saying. Beautiful country. It's a beautiful country. It is. Great to see you, Johnny, says Christopher. Great to see you too. Kalergi plan. That's a great. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's like there's not much of the Kalergi plan. It's like it's just a couple of paragraphs, really. I've looked into it like at one time, and I was like, okay, it describes it perfectly, but it is only just a few paragraphs. And I think these sort of things, those few paragraphs, can change the mind of 100 other men who have real negative effects, and that's what's happened as well. But I think there's a load of plans. I think there was a lot of people talking about the same issues at the same time, and they were all coming to the same conclusions. This is a great conversation about Persian bloodlines. Really nice that you guys have a bit of understanding about it. I like a little bit of that. And there you go, Deb. Hi, Johnny. I'm formerly known as Desert Rain. I recently got rid of my Twitter and YouTube channels. Thank you for your amazing work, Johnny. I love you. Yeah, you've always been wonderful. I mean, we've had lots of conversations in the past, so you're very welcome. You're always lovely, and I understand why you got rid of them, but unfortunately, we all have to communicate as well. So I'm happy to use any channel I can. Raise a palaver. You couldn't make it up. I know. What a palaver. Palestine, Roman city, indeed. Well, to an extent, a lot of this was a lot of infrastructure was built by Rome passing through. Once you build a road through a city, or you're building, I mean, that's what they did. They built roads everywhere. And once you build a road to a city, that then you have a massive effect on that city. So I think that's what happened. Dread movie shit. Okay, wait a minute. So I bought my first 2000 AD. And it was program 674. And it was 1989. And it was the first of Necropolis, about the Sisters of Death, and it was amazing. It dragged me in, and I became a big Judge Dredd fan. Loved it. It was wonderful. That was there was about 30 parts to that series, and then the Dredd. By the time I was 15, the Dredd movie was coming out. 13, 14, 15. The Judge Dredd movie was coming out with Sylvester Stallone, and I was so excited, man. I was so excited. And it was so bad. However, I will say the Carl Urban ones have been much better. The modern ones have been much better. I quite like them. The last one was really good. You've got to, for me, Dread. There was loads of different artists and loads of different writers who would be involved in the Dredd series. So Dredd isn't just one thing for me. Judge Dredd comics are just like a load of different. It's like the perception of what that character would be within that world and what that world would look like from a different mindset each time. And I like that. That's why I like those sort of serial comics, like weekly comics. All the Shah's Men by Kinzer was a book that first woke me up to all the CIA shenanigans. You say something here, which I think maybe I say. I remember reading it right after they threw Bin Laden in the ocean. Yes, that's very interesting. I asked my friend the other day. I was writing it out, and I said to him, "How many N's are in shenanigan?" And he had to think for ages. He ended up saying 4. That's everybody thinks there's 2 N's at the beginning of shenanigans unless they spell it out. Don't know if you really know. You can tell me, did you actually know how to spell shenanigan, or did you use let the preemptive text change it for you. Imagine that. Hello. Hegelian dialectic is a three-step process. Yes, indeed. The Jacob's ladder. The thesis, the antithesis, and then the synthesis up to the new thesis, and then the antithesis, and then the synthesis out to the new thesis, antithesis, synthesis, etc., so on and so forth. And when you actually explain that process to people, people understand it really well, and then they start to actually. The Hegelian dialectic is one of the best ways to wake people up in that sense. All attached to Knights of Malta. Youngcomen to course Ferdinando Bracetti Peretti and his brother Ugo Bracetti Peretti, who were both in Epstein's Little Black Book. They're both Knights of Malta as well. And enemies of me, yay! Like I say, a new Italian turned up. I'll let you know what happens there, but a new Italian walked in. I think they've gone. They tried supermodel chatting me up for a couple of months. That didn't work. Not that I don't like supermodels, I just don't believe that they want me. So, I mean, what can you do? I'm a realist. They tried daddy figure during the year of my daddy's death as well. So, I mean, that was pretty obvious. Wet route to go, and that worked a little bit better for them because they could at least communicate with me because the guy was funny. But then the offers, the job offer he gave me, I flatly refused, and the rest led to the Vatican stuff. So that didn't work out for them. So now I think they've gone with transgender model. Yes, transgender model. I'll just say that. I'll tell you how that goes. I think there's a load of people currently watching this person, and this person is acting very peculiar. I mean, they just spies. What is going on? Anyway, the third way and game B were both discussed with Courtney. Yes, indeed. These things are both described best as communitarianism. That's okay. A third way. Okay, so I agree to an extent. The third way, for people who don't know, the third way is the political ideology that was created really probably by the CIA think tanks, but Anthony Giddens was the person who brought out the third way in about 89, I think it was, that he produced the book. And then it was the political ideology that was adopted by Clinton and Blair and Gerhard Schröder and others, etc. And it was about purging the left of the party, that pulling the left-wing party into the center, and that forces the right to have to compete because they can't compete with this massive central blob then, and they have to move to the center too. And then you get this one third-way government, but all of the solutions to politics are on the left and right of politics. So you end up with replacing those solutions with austerity, war, and intelligence meddling, and lots of other things that we see. I would not necessarily say that the third way is communitarianism per se. I would say it's the escalator that's leading to communitarianism. I think it's the thing that takes us into a style of government that forms, that allows for a one global government approach that communitarianism needs to really thrive. So I think the third way is actually a stepping stone towards communitarianism, and is the stepping stone just before the adoption of communitarianism. And game B as well, that's again something which is about destroying the fact that the world that isn't fully communitarianism and creating a world that's and forming it into the world that is communitarianism. So I disagree that they can both be best described as communitarianism, and I will be pedantic at this moment and say they will be best described as the last or the very late stepping stones towards communitarianism. So I'd be happy to fight over that if you want to fight. I do love you though. UN, one, no diversity, no color, creed, race, sex, identity, etc. We all know what they want. One world government, whether we like it or not, and at all costs at world's end. You definitely know that. I don't know what you're laughing at. Katie, but it was probably quite amusing. There's a lot of silly things going on in the world. Cloud Piven needs reviving to understand. Okay. Part and parcel to clergy and Rothschild, Frankfurt School, in my honest opinion. Yeah, okay. I think all of these are mixed. I do think all of these are mixed. Don't thank me. Thank you. Yeah, so like I say, you've always been wonderful to me. So, and I know the world. Listen, guys, I want to say this. One thing about like people who leave behind YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that, you can leave behind looking at the. You know how much I actually scroll now down. I just don't do it. I do not scroll down Twitter at all. There's no point, or Facebook, or any of it. I just don't do it. There is no point. There is no point at all. What am I going to do for you, or my following? And all of it's the same. It all looks the same. It's all telling me lies all the time. It's all propaganda. Most of the people who I'm following have got their own side, but there's a load of people who are just pushing out the flooding of the zone narrative. And I see it there, and it's just so deceptive, so underthought, so overwhelmingly nonsensical. There's just no point in it. You don't have to. These platforms, you don't have to take it all and leave it all. Or leave it all. You can leave all of that stuff. I just don't bother going down the timelines anymore. If I do, I'm just looking at state propaganda. So what's the point? Instead, every now and again, people who like my work or know me or want to communicate will DM me on there, and I'll look and be like, yeah, look at that. And they'll lead me to something that then I will see it, and it'll be in context to something that I need to know. I find that much better. So if you want to drop all of these channels, okay, do it, but don't drop the ability to communicate with other people. That part of it is a good part of it. Doesn't mean you have to argue with people online. You have to get involved in threads. You have to do that much. If you want to publish out something, if you want to put some work out there, if you want to say something, do it. You interact within your own sphere, and people just ignore all of the mass propaganda that's there because it's just not worth taking in. It'll just anger you, trigger you. It'll lead you to putting all your time into something that's useless and crap. And so there's no point anymore in thinking, I gotta look at everything that's on my wall on a social media platform. Why would I want to honestly go and be brainwashed? I know they're brainwashing me. I know they know they're brainwashing me. So if I go and look at it, it's just me getting involved in their little world of hypernormalization that they've built to try and control my mind. I'm just not interested anymore. Just not interested. Just not interested. I'm going to keep doing the work I need to do, keep doing the things I need to do, keep looking for information in different ways, and then I don't get distracted by all of the bump that comes with other people's lies, the masses. Like the 18, 90, 95% of it is just fake shit. No one really even wants to know. No one cares. YouTube's the same for a lot of the stuff that they feed you. They want to put you in there. They do to distract you, or they do to annoy you, or they do to cause some form of reaction. And don't react. The best way not to react is just switch off a little bit in that area, but don't be you don't have to switch off completely. You can still communicate with people through direct messages and through other ways. And find the people who you actually care about, who you dig what you do and dig how you think, and communicate with those people, because you will find friends who will be able to link you up to things. Let other people who really want to do that scrolling, let them do the work and come and give you the information that you need to get. Or when you need to know something certain, go and look for it then in focused, but don't get caught up in that wave of flooded zone of nonsense and adverts that come with it. So Plutarch's writings in hundreds AD talks about Pompey, I think, conquering Syria, Palestine, and Judea, 3 different places even back then. Yes, most definitely. most definitely 3 different places. I've come across this on multiple occasions. The idea that Palestine was not a place once upon a time is balls. It has always been a place. And Judea was very different. There was actually 2 different Jewish lands then as well. There was the Kingdom of Judea, and there was a Kingdom of Israel, or something along those lines. So there was 2 different areas, and they were enemies as well. So I mean, go figure. Carl Urban was all I needed to see on the character. The set was very well done. Yeah. Okay, the sets were very well done. Judge Dredd is one of my favorite English musicians as well. Yeah. I love that era of music anyway. Kay Griggs woke me up to understand CIA army, but it's army running it all. Yes, so that's all it is. It's just the army intelligence continuing on, and army tells everybody how to do everything. And that means we always end up at war is the solution for all ills. Of course it is. Yes, spelling is one of the best useless skills, indeed. Herodotus. So you did know that there was how many N's were in there. Herodotus. Dark Commission, my guy. How's it going? Herodotus described the region from Egypt to Tyre as Palestine in the 5th century BC. 5th century BC, my man. That's what you say, 5th century BC. In other Hegelian dialectic is a lesson in Barnum world statements. Yes, okay. So was Jimmy Savile, Johnny. Okay, I'm not sure what you responded to, but Jimmy Savile was a lot. Oh, he was a Knight of Malta or a Rhodes Scholar. I think you're talking, he's a Knight of Malta. I wouldn't be surprised if he was. He was also the guy. I mean, if anybody hasn't gone to Newspaste and read The Black Hand, number 8, Comrade Savile, inventor of hip hop, you should. Jimmy Savile invented disco. Did you know that? He invented DJing. Did you know that? That's bizarre. He was the first person to be recorded welding 2 decks together so you could have continuous play. He's the first guy who put on the disc only night, and he did it for a club full of Freemasons. That's interesting. First ever disco was a load of Freemasons. Oh, I love history. It's so ridiculous. Endless ponderousness must be the Hegelian dialectic. Wow. You're endlessly pondering because you're constantly going to the next stage and the next stage. Didn't Bin Laden have kidney issues? Wasn't he on dialysis? Yes, he was for a while. He must have had a little. He probably had a little colostomy bag. Leading nowhere but trouble. Yeah, indeed. That's the roads. All roads lead to Rome and trouble. From Tyre comes the tyrant. Yes, indeed. Paula, at World End, Johnny, I just think the magnitude of this power is barely grasped. I think Sean Ross has done the best work. Do you mean, is that how you spell his name? You mean Sean Ross or Sean H. Ross? I'm sure it's Sean H. Ross, isn't it? I'm laughing at the ladies in the window story. All right. Yeah. It was very silly. Very silly indeed. Oh, there was an end to that story actually, because I walked back around the corner later on, and they banged on the window like quickly, like I wouldn't. Well, that's what they do. They went like that to me, and I looked at them. I was like, I don't want a £200 hand job, thank you very much, and just walked off. And they were laughing when I said it. They also know that they're ripping people off. So, there you go. That's true. Good. Tyrant was the name of the ruler. Tyre, the etymology of the world, wasn't what Isians today. Here we go. Acquis communautaire in French is communitarian law of European Union and will be the law of North American Union, now being implemented here on the side of the pond. Indeed. But a lot of this is like the stepping stones towards a globalist communitarian society. But I totally agree with your want to make people understand what type of society we're entering into and what communitarianism actually means. I find etymology very interesting. Me too. Agent Scorpio in the house. Dialectics come from the Greek dialego, to discourse, to debate. And in ancient times, dialectics was the art of arriving at the truth by disclosing the contradictions in the argument of an opponent and overcoming these contradictions. That's interesting. Essentially, it's the art of attempting to better oneself. By doing so, you end up living your life by the basis of outputs of arguments you have with whoever you're having it with. So you could end up with a different, arrive at a different truth if you're arguing with a different people, and also do the same. But that is synthesis, the synthesis in a sense of the two views. I delete what is no longer beneficial. Less apps is best. Yeah, I'm very much about keeping whatever allows me to communicate with people. That's all I'm keeping. If you want to message me on any of these things, I try and look up. Like if you message me on Instagram, it may be a month and a half to 2 months before I actually get back to you. Same with Facebook. If you message me on Facebook, it may be a month and a half before I get back to you, because I just do not check them regularly. But I still keep the line of communication open most of the time. I actually delete the apps as well. So I haven't got Facebook or Instagram or any of these apps on my phone anymore. I go to the site every now and again and have a little look if I needed, but it's very rarely. And sometimes it's family stuff mainly, isn't it? Yes, you're right, Martin Levy. The funny thing is your mind will correct my bad spelling. There you go. I really should do that again. Wait a minute, Elizabeth. Yes, you're right, Martin Levy. The funny finig is your minids will correct my bad spelling. Yes, it will. There you go. Don, hey Johnny, what do you think of news portals like Réseau Voltaire by Thierry Meyssan? I do not know. Réseau Voltaire by Thierry Meyssan. You send me a link. I don't get when people, if you've sent me something already, you gotta wait for me to catch up. Like I say, I got a lot of stuff that I got a pile of work that I gotta do all the time, because I do all the editing and stuff for most of these things and all of the writing for stuff. I mean, I'm pretty busy all the time, but please send me new stuff. I'd be very interested. I have to say, I'm very suspicious of all news portals. I am very suspicious, have to be, because a lot of people, especially if you organize news portal, a lot of them is our operations. The operations programs by intelligence agencies to put things in your mind. Dark Commission, my man, Dark Commission. I remember seeing a map of the USA under New World Order, split up with Human Habitation Zone A, connected by high-speed rail. The East Coast looked like more like megacity ones. Yeah, you're going to see lots more megacities, people being driven out of the countryside by all sorts of reasons. I think it's very interesting. When I was talking to Heiko Schoening when we had a meeting in the Netherlands in a hotel, we sat down for 5 hours in the restaurant, having a conversation, or the bar, having a conversation over ginger beer. Yeah, I was drinking the ginger beer, of course. And he told me that the next pandemic will be bacterial infection, and they'll want people to take pills that are mRNA gene manipulators, which of course is idiotic for bacterial infections or illnesses. But that's basically what he thinks is going to be the next one, and that will lead people to having to go to have more care in cities. All of these things, you see, illness also brings us into the cities. I don't have Facebook, Instagram, only YouTube, X, Twitter, and Substack. You can always send me if you can contact me by any of those, by the way. If you want to actually go on to newspace.com, go down to the bottom, you send me a message, go straight through to my email. This is to anybody who's on here. And boom, I think we're done. I think that's it. It's been nearly 2 hours, and I thank everybody for being involved. I'm going to leave you with another wonderful song that will be on the Jeffrey Epstein, the podcast, the musical part 2. I'm going to leave you with one that I aired the other night for the first time. What About Jeffrey? Which I want people to understand how like narcissistic and self-centered he was, but in the same way, how much of a wrapped up within Zionist ideology really is he sees himself as the king of Greater Israel within this to an extent. And that's a really fun song. So I'll leave you with that. That'll be from this. You can actually listen to the first one on all those different platforms we discussed earlier, just like Spotify or Apple Music or anything. Sue says hugs to Bella. Oh my God. I tell you, she is so cute right now. I can't tell you how cute that dog is. My dog is a cutesy with McTootsie, most definitely. There will be new trends where people get kudos for having fewer social media links. Yeah, Dark Commission. He always says the thing that you're not supposed to say that's amusing. InQtel invested in FST21 America Connected with Alexander Brothers. Correct. Yes, definitely. Say love to have hugs to Bella again. Great couple of hours. Thanks to everyone. Yeah, Martin, thank you. Great stuff, Johnny. Keep up the good work. I love ya. Thanks, Johnny, and everyone for chat later. Yeah, I will be trying to do more of these. There may be a show coming up soon. It'll be quite interesting, and you should all enjoy it. I'm thinking about how to do things a little bit differently as well. And I love at the moment trying to be super creative along with writing, music, documentaries, and getting out there. If anybody thinks if there's an event going on anywhere that you think I should come to and I should see, wherever it may be in the world, get in contact with me. Maybe I'll come out to an event or two. I'm looking for an excuse to wander around a little bit more and spread my legs a little bit more. Last little line just for you. Third way communitarianism promoting Tony Blair and Donald will lead Palestine's border peace. Yeah. These are the third way is a dirty, rotten system that is currently in effect. Good night and good morning from San Diego. Good night. We have a Belle. She's a Staffy Jack Russell Cross. Oh, I'll tell you, I will show you my girl at some point. I'll bring do more Truth Bomb. I like to play along. Indeed, I got some people lined up for Truth Bomb, so I will very soon. It's a lot of work, to be honest. There are going to be more music rounds, and I've worked it out now. So it'll be I've actually managed to understand how to code things, so I can have people put them in order, put certain things in order and stuff on a board, and it graphically it'll be much better. Game wise, it'll be much better. But if anybody watched the last show, there was a music round in there. There will be a lot more music rounds in the near future, rather than Board of Peace. Oh, you clever one! Look at you, TSO. I like it. So, thank you, everybody, for being with me. I really mean it. I am totally and utterly thanks Dark Commission. You really you appeared on Truth Bomb, and that was good. That was lighthearted and fun. I'm really happy you all come, and we'll do this again. Remember, there's loads coming up. Sometimes I'm probably just going to come online for an hour or two really late at night when it's a bit later over in America, just to have a conversation, just to have a chill round with people. I really want to do a lot more of this, a lot more of this. And I love you guys. I really appreciate your interaction. I really appreciate you being here with me and being here for me. A lot of you guys, you know that as soon as you meet me, you'll meet me again and again. I'm someone who likes people, and I like getting around. So enjoy this next song. This is from the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical part 2, which will be out in the next couple of months. And it's called What About Jeffrey? Oh, yes.
It's me, the money man of mystery, your big bad buddy, Jeffrey Edward Epstein. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers or the planes. How about the dossier, the vials? How about Saddam? How about his trials? How about the Bin Laden terrorist fighters? How about al-Nusra Front? How about Al-Qaeda? How about the Goyim children dying in the streets? How about Greater Israel? How about the Goyim children starving at my feet? The Greater Israel. It's me, the Rothschild puppet master, Epstein, the high-level disaster forecaster. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers or the planes. How about we feed you full of news? How about we trade you, we tell you what is true? How about we herd you, lead you to our proof? How about we train you to be some and Samba Jews? It's me, your Zionist zaddy, your big bad buddy Jeffrey Edward Epstein. I'm trying again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers. Oh, the blood, our vows. We take back what is ours. We win the final war. We take back what is ours. We create greater Israel. We take back what is ours. We win the final How about me? How about me? How about me? How about Jeffrey? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about Jeffrey? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about the international money man of mystery?